A las 7.
Santiago porque también el problema es que cuando se calibran yo me agaché así, pero así todo el concierto sucedió. Pero si me dices eso,
Puede ser.
juxtaposition like set. Yeah, exactly. So like it's multiple times. Like, so like no, it's like still like yeah, like serverless like
Sí, ya pues entre los 4 o 5 personas que tenemos estos días, solamente hay una persona como que fue la cosa tocando ahí en el salón. Ayer a las 6 de la noche la vez fue tocando.
¿Qué edificio estás?
Estoy en el 160 y en el 155. Tú vas a que al estudio del 160 en el segundo plano.
El deseo.
El lab que hay al lado, al fondo del máster.
¿Qué hay al fondo?
Hay un lab. Ahí es donde estaba yo ayer.
¿De qué?
Sí, una pila. No, los recordings son...
Yo creo que ya cuando lleguen, pero tú cuando lleguen los de Live, ya se empieza a llenar.
Sí, es más o menos igual aquí al principio se me cree por 10 minutos.
Oh, yeah, no, I think
Ayer fue la diferencia de 5 personas, como entre 25 también se habían
like a mosh pit is this like organized chaos where like you call down people that it's like this area where you can see all the you always need the perfection. That's like my first ever show was done.
Vayan a sacar esto por ahora. Se van rotando mientras no vamos a tocar. Hasta este lado para lo que hacen. Ah, tú te vas a parar. No, yo no me voy a sentar. Solo les voy a presentar.
Oh, yeah.
Va a quedar como tan.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Buenas noches, tardes, para los que hablamos español. Bienvenidos a esta conversación con Monsieur Periné. Vamos a estar aquí, ellos van a estar conversando sobre su historia, sus experiencias en la industria de la música y posteriormente vamos a abrir pocas preguntas, está un poquito tarde, también vamos a darle la oportunidad a unos estudiantes de un seminario de songwriting en México para preguntar unas preguntas, entonces tendremos aquí solamente como unas 3, 4 preguntas y 2 preguntas para ellos, entonces mil gracias por asistir a este evento. Y los dejo con Monsieur Periné.
Muchas gracias.
Hola, muchas gracias. ¿Todos hablan español? ¿O better in English? English
Okay,
better?
so
Okay.
there are a few
Spanglish?
that need to learn Spanish. Okay, thank you. Thank you for having us here. This is very special for us because as you guys, we dream to live about doing music and it's hard and it's possible and this is a great place to start, you know. In my place, I didn't go to an academy. I didn't have this background, but I learned on the road, and it's also amazing. So, yeah, if you have a question, we want to do this like very informal. Interactive.
Interactive.
Yes.
It's not like a master class because you're in Berkeley. We cannot do, you know,
Yeah.
like a music class. But we can tell you about our experience as a Latin band in the road, as Cata said, and how we did all that we have done in the moment. And in my left, Mr. Abstin Caviedes, he's a trombone player.
Yeah.
Jairo Alfonso, he plays the clarinet and saxophone. Adinda Meertins from Holland, she plays the bass. And Cata, the singer, and I play guitar and string instruments. And we're missing also Miguel and Darwin, and that I think that's, well, we can start telling about them because we are a band and we play live. I think one of the greatest achievements is to have like a teamwork that flows like we've been playing, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, well, with some changes, but touring a lot. And the first thing that we can, like, I don't know, say it's important is about teamwork and having like a good equipment of musicians and good flow of energy. And I don't know, we can start maybe with questions if you want, or we can talk some shit about what we do.
Okay, so you want to hear the story. Nice. So, no. That question is prohibited. So we met in university. I was doing anthropology. They were doing music. And we started this idea without a name and without like a horizon, just for having fun, for having a space to get close to each other, you know, to be friends. And that's very important because it started from like a real ¿cómo decirlo? O sea, no fue algo planeado. It was not planned. So we had a lot of freedom in that course, like finding a sound, like exploring a repertory without thinking about making our own music, just doing covers of the music that we like it. And that was also important because we like it like vintage or, you know, like Latin American folk music. And that happened because we grew up in context where our families were listening boleros, salsa, tango, trova latinoamericana, a lot of different roots from the Latin American folk music. And we were young, but we liked that mood and we liked that sound. So Santiago and Nicolás, that is the other guitar player, they found that style, the swing or manouche style, by internet, and they started to learn how to play it, like listening, because in that time YouTube and Spotify and all that shit didn't exist too much. You know, we didn't have the so many different platforms to find music. It was just a few, and in Colombia, nobody played gypsy jazz. That was something that they just like it because it was like funky and, you know, like happy and also virtuose and different sounds. So they were exploring that. And when we started thinking about a repertory, we start mixing that sound with our Latin American roots. It was like the normal, the organic situation that we were living. And it was funny also because it was weird, the sound, you know, like mixing vallenato with swing. It was kind of, experimental, you know. And we were not thinking about recording or being a famous band or having a deal with a major label or whatever. We were just having fun at home. And we had a lot of time for doing this. And then start playing for weddings and birthdays and, you know, the enterprises meetings, and we were the background music, like the sound that nobody cares about. And we did that a lot of times, and we learned a lot of of that job because you start like thinking about a repertory for people with a large range of ages, like small kids with, I don't know, 5 years old and their grandparents. So even if nobody was taking too much care about what we were playing, we had on mind to play something that could, you know, like unite everyone. And being doing this Latin American folk repertory helped us a lot, you know, like Brazilian and Argentina and Colombia, and exploring that sound. But in that time, we were just 4, 2 guitars, a flute, and voices. So we start going on stage, not just for being the music in the background, but we start like doing small shows for 10 people, our friends and 2 new friends. And yeah, and exploring covers that we also like it, not just for Latin American music, but like the music that we were hearing, like, I don't know, in that time, Moloco, for example. Or we found this Caravan Palace music, or the music for the movie The Triplets of Belleville. And we start looking for the swing repertory and trying to bring it to Latin America, to find the sound. Because at the beginning we were playing, I don't know, like half of the song swing, and then we switched, and it was not cooked. So I think the most important thing about us is that we like to cook slow our sound, and that's important because that permitted us to hear a lot of changes in the meantime until we start like composing. And what else?
So we did all this, and then we recorded an album in 2012. It was an independent like effort. We did like saving money from these gigs we had playing in birthdays and all this shit. And so we had some money, and we recorded 12 songs we composed, and we did it with this kind of mixture of sounds, which was our identity, and it was the result of doing music like 4 years in a row, like mixing swing and Latin American and other types of music, and so then we played 4, and then we like in David Byrne says in his book How Music Works, like architecture shaped sound of music. That also happened to us when we like went into this career of getting new stages and new scenarios. So we had the chance of playing in a very, I think it's the most important festival now in Colombia. They were beginning, and we won a prize. And the prize was to play in Festival Estéreo Picnic. So we had to build a band with a most powerful sound, more than a flute, and we were trying to find a more robust sound. So we add drums and bass, and then we began to build a different sound from the first seeds we put. And so we recorded this album, and we didn't have a plan for release the album. We didn't have also money for promotion, no radio, no proper plan for developing the album. So we released it, and we had the luck of being how do you say that, viral, because those times where if you had 1,000 friends in Facebook and you put something in your page, all this publishing or publication, ¿cómo se dice? Publicación. post esa vaina. Post, it reached everybody. So now you gotta pay to reach people, you know. So we had the opportunity to become viral, and we had like an organic growth in Colombia, and we were like I don't know why happened this, but we were a band in Colombia with a weird name, who did like indie music, and we became not famous but known at least. And then we began like doing music and being in that road, and then we signed with Sony. But this just happened in the last album. We've done 3 albums. The second one, we also did it independent, but we licensed to Sony. And the third one, when we knew what like the major label is about in, like, you know, like in the relationship with an artist, if it's like
For a Latin
healthy.
American band.
Yeah. So we signed with them like this last album. We released it 1 year ago in May, and we've been like in this new, like being an artist of a record label of the big ones since like the last year. So we are like this example of like a group of students like you maybe. We were also in college, and we built just our music, trying to find like an own identity with the ingredients we chose, swing, Latin American music, and we were like, Kata said, cooking, and trying to find our own flavor. And I think we achieved something like a voice, kind of an authentic voice. And the hardest thing is like to keep on that and being evolving without losing, you know, the essence of what we did, which was sharing, only sharing. So questions?
It's a big resume.
Pueden dar como pros y contras de estar firmados pues como con una disquera y estar independiente.
Claro.
Like pros and cons between being independent and being with a major label.
Okay, so I don't know, maybe for different type of artists is a different story, but in our case, I think it was very important to cook this by ourselves before, you know, like to have an identity and to be clear and to have like the complete power of what we want to do, how we want to sound, what we want to say, how we want to look, everything, you know, like to have the control of the artist concept. And yeah, so I think that because we were not a band made on the studio or by a
A&R project.
Yeah, an A&R project. So that's why a band with the risks that we take can survive on this industry that is full of examples of artists from studios. And because we earned the public and like the respect before the label, before the big platforms and everything, we did it by ourselves. So that respect and that confidence, that the support that our public audience gave us, we earned it by ourselves. So that for us, for a band like us, that's very important when you're going to sit and to negotiate with a label, because of course they are not doing a lot of money with a band like us. You know, if you're looking at numbers, it's evident. You know, like we work in a different way, but. for a Latin American band, it's not easy at all to survive being independent, because the control of the market, it's very on the side of the labels in all the way. And also because the industries, like local industries, are also new industries. They are new in Latin America. Like the oldest are like Mexico or Argentina, and that's it, or Brazil, but that's another language. So Colombia, Chile, and the others are very small. So the way to negotiate with the people who is building those industries is difficult, because everybody's learning how to do it, and because we are, and that's sad to say it, but we are like corrupted societies. So it's not like here that law is law, or Europe, and that mentality it's or like culture has a lot of value, even if you think that things had changed, but it's very hard to be independent in Latin America. For a project like us, that we need money to invest, because music, it's very expensive. Doing a show, having a big, like a band with a lot of people, like good musicians playing, and like all what means to invest, going on tour, living, doing this, it's expensive. So you need a socio, ¿cómo se dice? Partner.
It depends in the contract, or in the contract you do with the record label. I think one of the process, if you can like have money to promote your music, that's perfect, because everybody needs like a marketing thing, any product, any music. So if you have this and you bargain well, it's a nice thing. But the contra is maybe they try to like control your artist vision. Maybe you gotta know how to fight those tigers, and
Yeah.
and also the other thing is they're slow, because they're big enterprises, big
Yeah.
decisions,
You have to
bureaucratic
tell them everything.
stuff. So it's that you gotta know that they just do like the record label thing, which is marketing of the music in its phonogram. But you gotta be pendant of all details besides touring, making the music. They just gonna handle a little like a portion of the whole picture.
They are like a bank. So you have to go there and you have to say, this is my project, I want to work like this, I want to do this, I want to be exposed like this, I want to do this kind of interviews, I want to do this kind of, everything. You have to tell them everything. Everything.
So you have
And you need a team to do that. And you need money for this team. And a lot of times you will need to lend them money. That's crazy, because they are not going to work on you, just on you. There are a lot of artists before and after you. So, it's kind of, you have to, or at least in our case, we try to maintain independent in the like artistic
we
and
don't
in
own
our
the
team.
phonograms. We don't own the music, but they have like this depth of investing in that. So, but we own like the brand, the name, we like the career in the end. I think it depends also in the music you do. If you're maybe electronic music, you don't need maybe Sony Music doing a mainstream career or in promotion. Maybe you go with a small label
or like
and you can do
independent.
better. It depends also in like where do you want to go.
The compositions are still for the band, like
have you been like merging with other composers and stuff?
We started composing by ourselves, and we're still doing it. But we also decided to compose with different people to learn different approaches. Yeah, and that's very important, you know, because you find. I love to work with in a collectivity way. Yeah, like to learn from the people, and because we are doing music for the people, you know, we are not doing music for, you know, for us. Of course, for us, but you want to connect. All this thing, for me, it's about connecting to the people. So it's beautiful to have the chance to sit with different kind of composers, different approaches, because that make special like your way. Even if you are not going to use it, you learn during the process. You learn different things, and you also establish your boundaries that help us a lot to say, okay, this is not us, but we can do it. We are also composers, so we can do that, and we can compose for different kind of artists. But sometimes you learn a lot from those processes.
Un micro para que se oiga la pregunta.
Ya.
Hi, should I speak in English? Sure. Okay. Hi. Thanks for being here. I wanted to ask you a bit more about that process that you talked about, like melting, kind of the styles of music and the different things you were doing. I think it happens to a lot of us because we're in school, so we're exposed to so much, and then we have like different versions of ourselves. And I don't know if you had any advice for someone who's going through that right now.
About that, well, that's something which is very common for I don't know, for Latin people, I think, at least in Colombia. I always try to compare it with food, like when cooking, and I always talk about a plate which is called sancocho, and it has everything, but you like I try to do like this, or when I'm working with different styles, because all of the styles maybe have things in common. I don't know. All Latin American rhythms have like this African root. Some of them, like mostly from Mexico to Argentina, you can find like different points of encounter, or how do you say, points in common between music. For example, when we were trying to mix swing with I don't know, cumbia, well, that already did it Lucho Bermúdez, for example, in Colombia, when he did like these porros and cumbias with big band format. But we were just trying to find like different points in common between genres and styles or concepts or sounds, even just one instrument played not in the folk way, for example, just to take the timbre and put it in a different way. We did it, for example, with the charango, but we didn't play it not only like the rhythm of huaynos or Bolivian rhythms, but we took it and put it in a pop folk sound, and it like we took that flavor. And I think it's like maybe it's a good advice to think that like thinking like cooking and trying to put few, like you gotta like think like cooking, because you put a lot of, I know it's spicy, you kill it, you know. So you gotta think maybe colors, instruments, rhythms, like all the materials in music. Try to think it in this way, and maybe like to prepare as a chef your dish with your, if you're minimal, you just take 5 things or 4, and you do what you can with that, something like that. I think.
I think the one of like a very important question is what you want to do with your music, you know, because we start playing we start this band playing like this is a live project, and since the beginning we decided to make music, to make danceable music, because we like to move and because we like the feeling that you are, you know, having fun and connecting with like kind of freedom, you know, because music is also like freedom, you know. So for me, when I'm going to compose or when I am thinking about references or like building a concept for an album or for a song or for a tour or, you know, for a show, I always think about people, like what they are feeling, how they are going to feel. And at the beginning, we were not thinking about boundaries. We were just doing whatever we wanted, you know, like a lot of risky things, and now we still doing it. But it's also important to select, you know, to have some boundaries. Like when you have few things, then you have to be more creative, kind of. Because if you have a lot of things, then it's gonna be hard. But it's also nice to have this, ¿cómo se dice? Como reto. Yeah, to have a big challenge of how to make, like, I don't want to say complicated, but yeah. How to use a lot of elements and make it happen, you know, make it happen, that people can connect. Because if there's no connection, what for, you know? So first, I think if you want to mix roots or genres or epochs, it's it's very important to listen to the music where you are going to, you know, like approach to those roots, and then start like selecting how you wanna find your way to mix all this. But the thermometer? ¿Cómo se dice termómetro? Yeah, it's people. So the beautiful thing about this is going on stage and touching and, you know, making live.
I have a question. So one thing that I love the most about your music is every single detail of every single instrument. I want to know, like, if you two like agree on what every instrument does, or it just flows with all the musicians, or who has the like most of the ideas, or how does it work?
Just flows.
Just flow.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if this works.
Yes.
Okay. I think, like, to go back also to her question, I think it's also important to accept that your taste is changing. So if you make a decision, you know, you don't have to like it in a week or in a year, you know. You can accept that the things you did last year, you maybe will like less now, today, you know. So I think with this, it also happens with this band, you know. Then when we're creating music in the studio, and everybody agrees like this is the best way to record it, and then the product is finished, the CD is there, and then a few months later it's in the stores, and then when we have to play it live, then we all decide we have to do it differently. So I also hear it like the people in the public that who doesn't know us how we play live or with the instruments that we are touring live. They always say after the concert, like, "Wow, man, live it sounds so different than on the record," and it's there's more power, and we we put like other intros, other outros, maybe like the form of the song. It doesn't work as well live as on the CD or the other way around. So, like, I think when you don't know it until you play it live for a public. Like she said, like the public and the energy and the feedback of the public is very important. If something is not working or the public gets tired or yourself on stage gets tired of the same chorus again and again, then I think that's your meter. That's when you know what the music needs and what you need to put in the music or to take out of the music.
And for the records, we start composing. Sometimes we start composing just with the voice or with a guitar. Sometimes we start doing it like we started doing rhythms and like grooves and structures, and we find that was not like the easier way, and we started from different points, and when we have the songs, we start like making all the references of sound and concept to build our own concept. We did 3 albums, and the 3 of them, they are related with a concept. We like to make music like that, to tell a story and, like to build a universe where we put the songs. So yes, we relate the songs to the references of sound and different artists, and then after that, like choosing like the mood of the song and how could be, then it's the time to like write arrangements. But then the arrangements, when you're going to record the record, like when the musicians are there, sometimes it changes. And after that, when you go and play live, it changes a lot. Because we don't have like a big band or, like a lot of musicians on stage. So we have to, ¿cómo se dice? Acomodar.
Reorchestrate all arrangements.
I was thinking when she asked about the process, I was thinking that maybe we, the artists, when we create, we are very, very influenced by the environment where we live, and by the experiences or the taste or the likes, music we like. So everything we create is the result of is a synthesis of what we have heard all our life, or the place we have visited, or the experiences we have lived. So that's the way we create music, and then we found more people and we connect. So we find that we have maybe different points of view, or maybe we share some points of view. So we start trying to cook something together, because I think that music is something that only has sense if you can share it with other people. Like you can be a extremely virtuoso saxophone player, but if you are just playing in front of a mirror, it doesn't have any sense. You have to share it with people, and you start sharing with the people of your band. So when you find this kind of when you find this point where you have all this balance, then you start sharing with the audience, you know. But it's also, for me, it's also important to understand that we, as musicians, we don't have all the information, so we have to count on our partners, our band. So as Catalina, for example, said, you can have an idea, but you are not the one who's going to play the allegre or who's going to play the bass. So when you find the bass player, she's going to say that maybe it's better this way, and she's going to add some flavor. So finally, at the end, the composition is something that it's made. The composition, the song is made by a composer, but at the end, the arrangement and the live show, it's created by little pieces that we put together from each other. You know, like for example, sometimes Santiago, because he writes the arrangements, and he brings some ideas for the horn section, and we play trombone and flugelhorn, and I play the clarinet or saxophone, and then we say, no, we can do this in octaves, or it's better if we make some parallel movement, or let's do this just for the trombone player. So at the end, we make an arrangement that is very groupal. And relating that with what Adinda said, I think that always for me, my favorite version of a song is the live version that we are playing every day. I mean, it's changing, but we are always trying to feel comfortable, to feel happy with what we are playing. So we change the versions and all that, but we always try to feel happy and make people feel happy, you know, like enjoy what we are doing and really dance and sing and transmit some of what we are. That bring us to a different level of responsibility, because we are sharing with you our ideas and our energy. So I think that musicians must be really responsible with that. You know, you can't go on a stage and say whatever shit you want to say just to sell albums or to make some streaming. You know, like, you must be responsible with that. You have a responsibility. You have to share something valuable, and we as musicians, we have the opportunity to bring something good to the world. You know, we are on a stage in front of sometimes 10,000 people. They are just looking at you. So if you say them, shake it, shake it, shake it, they're going to shake it without thinking. And but you can go on and tell them something more intelligent, you know. So just try to find your voice, and when you find that voice that resonates with your body and with your energy, try to use that resonance for sending something powerful and valuable to the people. You know, don't say, please don't make shit music, because we have too much shit music, you know?
But it's also good to shake it.
No, yeah, it's good.
I love making people shake it.
Yeah, but I think it's good to shake it, but I don't know. And you understand what I'm trying to say, you know? Like, you are powerful. You have this power to make people think, to make things change. You know, like, use that power for something good, or use it for what you want, but it's your decision. It's your decision. And that's also what Catalina and Santiago were saying. These major labels, they come to you like tigers, like lions, and they're gonna press you to do what they prefer. And usually, what they prefer is what sells the most. No, so if Bad Bunny sells millions of copies, they want make us Bad Bunnies. You know, they want that everybody
We are Bad Bunny.
we are Bad Bunnies. You know, but you can. I mean, you can resist. You know, like let's try to resist and to keep real. You know, keep real with you.
Guys, last two questions of the night.
I have a question. Do you have any goal, like that you establish? Like, you want to arrive somewhere? Like, what is your goal? Oh, yeah, I would like to know if you start with a vision and what do you want to do, like in 10 years, or where do you want to see yourself?
Well, we have like urgent goals. For example, we want to do a new album, but we're on tour, so we are trying to find how do we do an album, but also being on tour, you know, and doing music, yeah. So finding the time to getting into a studio or composing music, or you know, like investigate, like that part of investigation, of trying to get new ingredients or recipes or paths. So that's like the urgent goal is always making music. I think making good music and learning something new. Of course, we have goals like I think material ones. Yeah, we wanna, you know, charge more, like better fees for our concerts, biggest audiences, maybe more tours, like more because we
Keep
as a
growing,
band,
keep growing.
yeah, keep growing and keep going, because it's hard for like we are a band who has like kind of success, but it's also hard in terms of like talking about financially. It's not so easy, for example, to go abroad and doing a tour in the US. It's hard for a Colombian band to do that, paying visas, you know, that if you do all that, it's hard. So we try like our goal is to put, you know, going up and trying to grow as, yeah, to have like this stability maybe, and doing music. But that's the main goal, I think, doing music and keep the evolution going.
I think that being able to go on stage and sing our songs, even when we are going to be 60, if you're going to reach that age, you know, I think that's an important goal, because that marks a lot the way that we compose and what we want to say and what we want to grow through the music. It's a different kind of cosecha. Harvest? Yeah, it's a different kind of harvest. And that, of course, change your road, like the way that you go through, because we are not thinking about being billionaires before 35 because we are under 30. You know, it depends. Every artist has different goals. We want to do music for the rest of our lives, and to be able to go on stage and play our songs. Of course, different songs, but you know, like to build a career that has endurance. But also another goal is to keep us together. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy to be a band, to be on a band, and to think about business. You have to learn a lot about numbers, about how to work with less resources, like to be very creative in the way that you communicate your vision. You have to be very creative all the time, and it's not easy because you're tired, you're flying a lot, you're moving a lot, you have your home in your luggage, and that's tiring, and that you will not learn it here. You have to go on the road and deal with everything, being sick, being far, being alone with your head, and that's crazy. So when you are in a band, you have to. This is a family. That's like the semilla, like the seed of the society. You know, this is like this everything. Different points of view, different moods, different everything. So keeping us together, it's one goal. You know, we don't want to let this end. ¿Cómo se dice? Dejarlo acabar. To let this die, and you have to learn to communicate in a very respectful way, and it's not easy because sometimes we are not respectful even with ourselves. So that's another thing that you will not learn maybe in school, because you're just thinking about, you know, like theories and other approaches to the music.
And I think also that musicians, like we musicians, we started to play music because we are very sensitive people, you know, like we do what we feel, or we feel what we do, you know. So yeah, a lot of decisions we make, it's because we are sensitive, and like in school you learn, or I think in this school you also learn to approach it in a different way. But on tour, when you're tired, you don't sleep a lot, you know.
When you have to share rooms.
When we have to share rooms.
When you have to share a bus
Yes.
with 8 rooms in a bus.
With one toilet.
And 10 guys.
And no shower.
You know.
No shower.
Yeah, you have to deal with things that you don't learn in a school, you know,
And
to respect
not even at
each
home.
other, and to, you know, yeah. I think we have accomplished it in certain days. No, I think like we are now touring for so many years, and also like long times, like sometimes 6 weeks or 2 months. So everybody in the band, you know, knows when it's too much for everybody. Like after almost like 3 weeks, everybody just shuts up. Nobody talks to each other. You know, people. You know, it's like living with your family. It's your new family. So.
I want to say that it's very important to keep intuitive doing music when you're gonna do music. Intuition is very important, because sometimes, and I take the risk to say this that I'm gonna say, because I didn't go to a school, but because I learned this like on the road, like on stage, and you know, like in this different way that they did. Sometimes when you have a lot of tools, like established theories and techniques and everything, you lose a little bit your intuition. You feel afraid of going inside of you and, you know, like believe in this thing that happens, you know, and that you cannot explain it. It's full of references and your history and everything, but it's there, and it's like freedom. That's freedom. Intuition is freedom. When you are going to compose, when you're going on stage and you want to touch people and you're going to say something, or when you're going to interpretar something like a song that was sung by another artist, and you want to do it in your way, and everything, your voice, your sound, the way that you write, everything, it has to be very, very related to your intuition, because that's you. So it's important to go out and to play without like disconnect a little bit from that word that you have and that is very useful for making also your own way and like discovering all the landscapes that you want to paint. But first of all, intuition, don't lose it. That's like your key, your own key.
About that, I have to say that as a musician, that I have been studying jazz and all these scales and arpeggios and all that, and then you find that maybe you are not so good as this young genius, so you start feeling like afraid sometimes, or you know, like, but sometimes you just have to fight that, and as Catalina says, go out and say what you want to say. Finally at the end you just want to, you are making music for non-musicians, and sometimes when we are young musicians, we go on the stage and we feel like we are in the final exam, in front of a lot of musicians, and we feel like really, really anxious and all that. So just go there and say what you need to say, or what you think, or what you want to say. And if they don't like, that's their problem. It's not yours. You can go and express yourself, and I think that there's going to be people who really is going to appreciate that, and is going to share that, and that people is going to be much more than the one that is judging you, like the one that is saying that's not good, or there is more, or there are better versions of any song or things like that. Just try to fight that and go on stage and say what you want to say, and then you will see what happens, But if you don't do it, you are already failed, Like if you don't have if you are not brave enough for going on the stage and say it, you have already lost.
Okay, so last question.
Hi guys. I actually work in the music industry, and I know that there's a lot of aspiring musicians here right now, and I know the hardest thing for a lot of aspiring musicians is building the team that's around them and trusting the right people. And every artist, group, band has a manager, business manager, lawyer, agent, label, and I kind of want to have you guys talk about a little bit about how you guys made the decisions to work with the people that you work with, and why you made those decisions, and how you collectively came to those decisions. Because as young artists, I'm sure you guys experienced a lot of people wanting to work with you, and
wanting to change us.
Exactly. And you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people, not just the people that are promising you the world. And I know as a young artist, it's easy to just make the wrong decision. So I think it'd be nice to hear how you guys made your decisions.
So I think, as we told you before, we started this being independent. So we were our own managers, our own everything. And that's important to learn about everything. And there's a lot of books and like videos and everything, examples. And here you can ask a lot of artists how they work. But first, we did it by ourselves. So it's important to know, if you are composing, to know your rights, to know how it works with a label, to know everything. Like the small, la letra chiquita. Lo que está en letra pequeñita detrás de todo. Like behind everything, there's a lot of information that you need to deal with. Also, the identity of your project, of your your music and everything. You also have to know how to communicate it. You have to direct everything. For us, it's important to have the control of everything. And that's how we choose the people who can work for us, because we are not working for them. And that's important. They have to work for you, because you are defending your point of view. And it's your point of view. You cannot forget it, because there's a lot of people who's gonna talk around a lot of bullshit. Like, you have to change your name because in States they hate French people, so they are not going to understand what is Monsieur Periné. They were never related to Latin America. And yeah, if you go to France, they will not care. So if you go to Europe, they will not understand that you come there from Latin America. And in Latin America, it doesn't matter. They don't know how to pronounce that. And why don't you?
How do you spell that?
And why don't you make a band with 3 or 4 people maximum? Because, you know, like, being 15, it's too much. This is not going to be possible to go out and tour. And everything has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. So first of all, you are the boss. Yeah. And even if they are a big label or whoever comes to you, you are the boss, and you cannot miss that. And so choose the people who respect you, who respect your ideas. Of course, this is not, I am not saying that you're gonna be wrong. Of course, you're gonna make mistakes, and you have to listen to the other people that you trust in, because you're building a career with a team, and they are bringing you a lot of knowledge that you don't have. But don't miss your horizon. If you want to feel comfortable with your team and to feel that you can trust, because that's very important in this career. Because you will not have time when you are like in the big leagues. You will not have time to, you know, to put a lupa. ¿Cómo se dice lupa? Yeah, you will not have time to put a magnifying glass over everything. So you have to trust in your team. And ¿qué más podríamos decir al respecto?
The people we worked with, well, we had like the luck also when we started the band we were doing everything by ourselves, but we were musicians, so we didn't really know how to do it. We had a lot of mistakes doing it, and you need, well, somebody handling. If you want to devote your time to music, you gotta need like help in different situations. Even today, for example, in social media, if you're doing music, maybe put that task in somebody, and you can have more time to compose or anything. So we started, and my brother, he helped us. Like we call him hermanager. He's my brother, hermano, and he's her manager, like like the hermanager from the band, and he helped us a lot.
Do you understand? Yeah, you did understand, like the
hermano, brother, like brother. Bueno, brother, Branager, and he helped us. So he started like he sells flowers. He doesn't know about the music industry, but he was a guy who was like we trust him, and he was very like transparent, and he like communicate very well with the people who were like hiring us for doing things. And then
he loves music, and that's important. He loves our music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the worst time, that when we were thinking about, you know, like finish the project and everything, he was not like, no, you have to keep going, and this is beautiful, and remember that. You know, he has a big heart related to what we do, and that's so important. Because of him, we are here.
Yeah, vibe of the team, like in general, it's really important. And then, for example, today, just to share like how the actual system is. My brother now Juan, which is like another manager who comes from the record labels. Like he had like a career in Sony, 14 years working in marketing. He he decided to get his own business, and he's our manager. Also, he's managing Eduardo Cabra, you know him, Visitante, and his project. Well, he's like a boutique manager, and he's working with us. But he's also a guy who's very like organized, and he knows how the music industry works. He has all this PR thing, which is important also. And then we're working now like in booking terms with an American agency which is called UTA, United Talent Agency, and they're great. Like we have like an agent which is also his name is Jeremy, and he's clear, good communication, people like good vibe, and that's the team. Like 5 people. Paola, which she helped us like doing all the tour planification or planning, and that's it. Like it's a small team, but people in which we can trust. Well, we have more people.
We have a designer, we have a choreographer, we have a bunch of people working. But the important thing for me is that everyone knows what we want to communicate and how we want to communicate. Because if you are not clear, they don't know what to do, you know? They can do a lot of things, and they're going to and you're going to lose money, and you're going to lose time.
I think that's it.
Well, for me, something important is that the people that you surround with, they must really take care of you. So, for example, their manager, your brother, he can be an architect, but maybe he's the best roadie you can get, because he's the one who is gonna really take care of your guitar and your cables, because he went with you to a store to buy that. So he really knows what you want to do, and he really understands the effort you are putting on. So for me, the best team are at the like your friends are the best team you can get. People who really loves you and take care of you more than the best manager, because you can get the best manager, but he's going to bill you by everything he does for you. So your family and your friends are your best team at the beginning, you know, for start growing. Then these talented people specialize in their areas. They start coming to you, because if you do something interesting, they are going to start looking for you, so everything start growing. But your family and your friends, they are the best roadies and drivers and managers and everything. Yeah.
Okay. So we have just the last question from Paulina Parga, a Berkeley alumni from Mexico. There are a lot of songwriters there, so we just wanted to use this opportunity, because Paulina, it was an important part of bringing them here. So
Adelante.
Hola, muchísimas gracias por estar ahí. Me da muchísimo gusto que lo hayamos logrado junto con Nati y todo el departamento de Berkeley. Mi pregunta sería, más enfocada a Santiago, que a mí me encantó en el disco de Encanto Tropical, pues la canción esta del bolero, ¿no? De Me vas a hacer falta, como que le dio un toque nuevo vocalmente que no habíamos visto, porque digo, la vocalista es Catalina, obviamente, ¿no? Entonces, ¿qué lo animó? Y sobre todo las influencias para escribirlo como muy arraigado al bolero tradicional, que me pareció, en cuanto a la composición también.
Okay. ¿Inglés o español? Ahí están escuchando como
en español, por favor.
Te lo mando en un
Aquí
WhatsApp.
no se entiende.
Bueno, esa canción de Me va a hacer falta, la hice de hecho como pensando en escribir una canción. Todo nació porque nos invitaron en México a hacer una canción para Juan Gabriel. Estaban haciendo un homenaje, un disco homenaje a él, y dijeron como pueden cantar una canción de él o inventarse una canción como para él o como por ahí, ¿no? Y entonces a mí se me ocurrió esa canción que terminó como teniendo esa onda muy old school en la letra y obviamente pues en la canción misma, porque suena un bolero como muy pues viejo, ¿no? Como pues todo está construido muy como a la antigua un poco, y fue eso, fue haber como plantado esa idea de hacer una canción como en la onda de Juan Gabriel, y me salió eso. No tengo ni idea por qué salió así ni nada, pero quedó como sonando a una especie de bolero clásico, y lo que tú dices en el disco pues refresca bastante, digamos que haya pues otros estilos musicales y por supuesto más voces, ¿no? Sobre todo un disco de 45 minutos, una sola voz, pues quedar más bacano si hay más, ¿no?
Bueno, muchísimas gracias.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos. Quiero aprovechar este momento para darle las gracias a los chicos que trabajaron en el video, Andrés González, María Bertis, Michael Borgira, a los chicos también darle un saludo pues a Juan Paz, a Paola, que también estuvieron ahí, a ustedes chicos, muchísimas gracias, para nosotros significan mucho, a la Asociación de Colombianos de MIT, Harvard, de BU, de Berkeley y otras universidades, muchísimas gracias, esperamos que sigamos conectados y que sigan pasando cosas así, y pues bueno, los dejo a ustedes para que les hagan una invitación para el concierto de mañana. Y ya solamente recordarles que pronto hay que ser un poquito breves ahorita la salida porque ellos llegaron hoy de viaje, entonces quieren irse a descansar. Muchas gracias. Los dejo a ustedes para que los inviten al concierto mañana.
We are gonna shake it tomorrow at the Paradise Rock Club. Everybody, please come. It's a very beautiful band on stage, nice energy, good musicians. Like we've been playing 6 years. You know how it's an ensemble when it's well crafted.
It's a party.
It's a party
It's
to
not for
shake
sitting.
it. Please shake it with us.